discuss different challenges that women face, people of color face, especially female entrepreneurs, mothers, just women in general, and that unique experience. I had the pleasure of serving for a nonprofit youth performing arts organization called Creative Impressions that I was actually a member of growing up. And then I also managed the McLaughlin Music Group. So just like everyone else, I have a full-time gig, but I have side gigs also. And so yeah, that's a little bit about me professionally. On a personal level, I graduated from Columbus State University in 2007 with my bachelor's of science in health science with an emphasis in nonprofit organizations. And I graduated from Full Sail University with my Master of Science in Entertainment Business in 2014. I am the mother of a very amazingly tenacious, super intelligent King Harrison Newton. And then I have an amazing bonus son named Zyron, and they are my why. We lost their dad. He transitioned from us in 2019, my husband and their father. And so just as we work through our grief and we work through just living and establishing a new normal for our lives, they keep me going and they remind me of why I stick in there as I work to build just generational wealth for them so that they're able to have just a step up that not a lot of generations in my family have been able to have. They keep me going and they keep me grinding, and I'm grateful for them. So that is part of my story. And one of the things we're going to discuss tonight is making sure that when we share our story, and that when we share the message that we want to communicate, that it is to our ideal client, because in essence, the story and the message that we do communicate is a part of our brand, right? So our brand is the story or the message that we're communicating to our audience. And in order to communicate the story that we want to communicate, it's very important to identify who we're targeting before we share it, right? So it is identifying. So to whom are we sharing the message? That is our ideal client. So you want to make sure that by identifying your ideal client, you can put your business in front of the people that you want to patronize your business, or the people that you sought out that you really want to help, that you've been purpose to help. So there are a few things to consider in order to help you really identify your ideal client and who you want to, and who it is that you're targeting. The first thing is to look at your current client base. Like, who have you already helped? Who have you served in the past? Who buys your products? Are they single mothers? Are they people who have an interest in sports? Do your clients have children that have eczema and you provide a product for them? Who do you already provide services and products for? That'll help you to determine who's already drawn to you. And like I said, that people are drawn to you according to your connection with them and the story that you share. So one of the reasons why you want to make sure that you're communicating the right story and knowing who you're communicating to is so that you can communicate in the right way. So look at your current client base. The second thing is, who would you like to work with that you aren't already working with? Who ideally, in a perfect world, and you had no stipulations on who you could work with, who would you want to work with? Because it's important that while you're servicing people, you're also doing what's in your heart and what you feel purpose to do and whom you feel led to serve. So the third thing is to consider their habits. So you want to consider their habits because in order to get in front of your ideal client and your ideal customer, you got to know just kind of like where they hang, even in the social sphere. So where they at? Like what social media platforms do they use? And you want to do your research on those platforms because not everyone uses the same platforms. And it's important for when you get ready to launch your social media so you can target those individuals the most efficiently, and the most effectively. So, oh, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A or the chat, and we'll definitely make sure that we answer each one that everyone has at the end of the workshop.
I'm monitoring for you, so if it's something that comes up, I will let you know.
Oh, thank you so much. So now, after we identify our ideal client, the next thing we'll want to do is begin to launch our social media. So I have another survey for everyone. Now, drop in the chat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what social media platforms you're on. Not everything is for everybody, so you shouldn't feel tethered to any one social media platform. But I know for me personally, Facebook is my jam. I remember when Facebook was really just for college students, and it really evolved into this really big, everybody can use it. So it's so I use Facebook and Instagram heavily. And I just kind of started, dabbling in TikTok, but not everything is for everyone. I don't do Snapchat. That's not my flow. And I do not really engage on Twitter. But again, it just depends on who you're trying to connect with. So let's see what we got. Answers. So everyone seems to be on Facebook. Okay. Some people are on Instagram. Okay, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. I like it. I like
And,
it. So depending on who you are trying to reach out to specifically, who you're trying to target, you will reach out on those different platforms.
and Miss Newton, I've enabled the chat so they can chat with you now.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Albright. So, like I was saying, each social media platform will have a different demographic. So on Facebook, the average age is 40.5 years old, which feels right to me because I'm right in that demographic. And then on Instagram, 71% of the users are between 18 and 34. On Twitter, those who have Twitter fingers, typically, 38.5% of those are between the ages of 25 and 34. On Snapchat, about half of those are between 15 and 25. And then on TikTok, on the tickety talk, as they say, half of those users are between the ages of 18 and 34. So as you can see, Snapchat and TikTok in particular are for like our younger generations, the millennials and those that follow them. So like a lot of teenagers, a lot of my students that are in creative impressions are all over Snapchat and TikTok. So it just depends on who you are trying to reach, that you want to build platforms on those different mediums. Now, there are a few rules to the game to really get you in front of your target audience or your ideal client. So the first thing you want to do is use a consistent social media handle on all of your platforms if it's at all possible. So by using a consistent social media username, you'll be able to build brand recognition, you'll be able to build trust, and it just makes it easier for people to find you if they can find you the same way across the different channels. Now, it can seem like a tedious process, especially if you've already established social media and they just have different user handles, but you can always go back and change them. And one of the websites that you can use to check the availability is namecheck.com. Yes, it's spelled CANAMECHK.com, but really, if there's another website that's namecheck with it spelled completely out, and it'll get you the same place. So it helps. It's just one of the tools that you can use to help just check the availability of different social media usernames, and it will just kind of help you save time. So, but if it is all possible, you definitely want to make sure that the username that you select is available across the different channels you want to use. And even if it isn't, to make it to where it's really easily adaptable, like if you could add like a one behind it or an underscore somewhere, just somewhere to make it easier for people to find you. And then also when you start to promote your business, it'll make it easier for you to streamline how you list your social media channels instead of listing a whole bunch of different types of a whole bunch of different handle names. For example, so for Newton Creative Consulting, our website is www.thenewcc.co. And if you ever want to email me, you would know that it's me because you're emailing me at Shanita@thenewcc.co. So it's me, Shanita, at Newton Creative Consulting. But also it extends into your social media. So for our Facebook page, our company Facebook handle is the New CC, and then our company Instagram handle is the same. It's the New CC. So it just makes it easier when we're doing any kind of promotional graphics or someone's listening to somewhere to just use that one handle instead of several different types of handles, you know? And it helps people to just find this easier. So the next thing I would suggest is that you post consistently. Now, I'm gonna start from the bottom because it does not have to be perfect, right? Your post doesn't, we're gonna dismiss perfection. We just wanna do things in excellence as best as we can do it at that time. But you do have to start because you won't be an amazing social media poster overnight. But the more you do it, you'll get more of a hang of it and more of a rhythm of it. And you want to start slow. Just posting once a week is good enough. You want to be intentional. So you can do that by scheduling posts. There are some really great softwares available for you to be able to post and schedule your post ahead of time. I know Facebook has something that's built in called the Business Suite, where you can schedule posts and it'll post for you on Facebook and Instagram since they're owned by the same company. And then you want to use hashtags to attract people that may be looking for what you have to offer. So as a graphic designer, most of the posts on NCC's website would be hashtag graphic designer or hashtag website designer, just to let people to reinforce what it is that we do. We provide graphics and web design services for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and brands. And it helps you to trend and it helps people that aren't normally in your pool or following you or on your timeline. It helps them to find you by you putting those relevant key hashtags. And then you want to remember to stay on brand. So when you get ready to post, you want to make sure it goes back to the message that you're trying to communicate to your audience. If your brand is not about sports at all, right, and you have no way to link it back to what it is that you do, you might want to consider posting something else because you want to make sure that whatever you post adds value to the people that look at it and then lets them know a little bit about your story or lets them know what it is that you offer. So you want to try to stay on brand as much as possible. So I placed an example. I actually think she's on the line tonight for a website that we had the privilege of building for a client. Neil Property Preservation Services does an amazing job at providing organization, like room organization and clean outs and cleaning services for individuals and companies. They do commercial and residential. And we had the amazing opportunity to provide them with their first website. So you'll see in our hashtags, we put hashtag graphic design, hashtag web design, hashtag Black owned business. And we finished this in the second quarter. So hashtag Q2, just different things that'll get you in front of individuals that are looking to patronize your business or looking to support someone and looking for someone to provide those services for them. Oh, shout out to Neil Property Preservation Services. So, and then lastly, you want to be consistent in your engagement. So when people take the time out to respond to your post and post, like put a little comment under your post, you want to make sure that you like their comments, and then B, reply back. It doesn't have to be anything super eloquent or very elaborate. You could just be like, thanks for supporting, or thanks for checking it out. But by engaging, you let people know that you appreciate their input, and conversation leads to conversion. So when you begin that process of converting someone who doesn't know your business at all to converting them into being a customer or a client, the first thing you want to do is just engage them in conversation. Oh, and then I have an important side note. Well, wait, before I get there. So the big three consistencies are to make sure that your social media username and handles are consistent when possible, that you post consistently, even if it's just once a week, and that you engage with your with people that comment on your posts, because like I said, you want to let them know that you appreciate it, and that way you can further that relationship, and eventually you'll be able to convert those individuals from just following and liking your page to actually becoming a consumer of the products or services that you have to offer. So now for my side, oh, and then also in regards to that, feel free to take social media breaks when you need them, when you need them. Taking care of yourself and your mental health is important. And sometimes you just need a break from social media, and that's okay. But when you are in the flow of things, you just want to be consistent in whatever it is that you do. So now for my side note. For Facebook, it's important to know the difference between a Facebook personal profile and a Facebook business page. So those are two different things. I put examples of each of those for me. So my personal profile, you see my name. You can friend me, send me a friend request, and I'll acknowledge it, and I can accept it. However, once you hit 5,000 friends on Facebook, you can't accept any more friends. That's it. They cut you off. The cap is 5,000, which seems like a lot sometimes. But when you've been on Facebook for a very long time, like since college, you tend to begin to run out of spaces for friends on Facebook. However, for your business, there is no cap. So you can have as many followers, as many likes on your page as possible. And that's really what you want. And you don't have to accept anything. So you don't have to screen those. People who are drawn to your business can just like your business page. And it's a way for you to stay in front of your customer without them being on your personal page. Because your personal page is really for your friends and your family. Whereas your personal profile, is really for your friends and your family, while your business page is for people who are in need of services or products from you. So now, while social media is an important piece of getting in front of your customer, you also need a website, right? Oh, we got it. Okay. So you also need a website to rein everything in and to be the hub of your business. And Mr. Albright raised his hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to for you to, could you expound a little bit on the fact that now Facebook has changed their business pages to something that looks totally different now than what you just posted, so that they can be familiar that Facebook is doing some more business things with their business pages?
Well, I actually grabbed that screenshot maybe 10 minutes before.
Oh, okay. That's
Before the
good
night.
then. Okay,
Mhm.
that's good.
So yes, sir. So that screenshot was taken maybe around like 5:45 today. So it's pretty up to date. But that's not to say that Facebook and Instagram aren't constantly changing the layouts of their pages and the layouts and just the functionality of the different social media platforms. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up because Instagram, which was more photo and image based, is now becoming very much video based. It's becoming very much like TikTok, which a lot of consumers and users of Instagram have an issue with, because Instagram used to be so heavily image based. And then even on Facebook now, you're able to transfer reels from Instagram to Facebook. So there are a lot of updates and changes that are taking place in social media on a pretty daily basis. And because Facebook and Instagram are now owned by the same parent company, they call themselves Meta. It's really just Facebook. They while they have some differences and functionalities, they are becoming more and more similar every day. And Instagram is really taking a page out of TikTok and is trying to compete for some of those consumers, but it's a completely different demographic. So I'm not really loving it, but you try to stay in with the trends so that you can flow into what's called the algorithms and stay in front of as many people as possible. Now, what social media is important though. And it's important though to make sure it flows back to your website. Because if you can remember last year, things like October 4th, Instagram and Facebook was off the grid. No one could post anything. You couldn't see nothing. Everything was down. Oh, and then WhatsApp, that's what that other little logo is that's broken. I got this from Squid Games because if you've seen it, it was like they had to cut the little cookie out the shape. But WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram are all owned by the same parent company. In October of last year, it was down they went dark for the whole day. If your business did not have a website and solely relied on any of those three platforms, then you missed out on money. You missed out on the opportunity to converse and engage with your customers and your clients. And for some businesses, that it was a very dark day for them because they didn't have another way for people to be able to place orders. Because they don't have ownership. It's important to have ownership of your content. So even if it is on Instagram and it is on Facebook, everything should run back to your website. So I saw this really great quote from a brand strategist I follow on Instagram. And she said, your website is where your audience should be able to see everything there is to know about your brand and what it represents. So your website really needs to be the hub. And social media it leads everyone to your website, right? So, because that's where you want to do most of your sales. That's where you want to be able to convert and let people know what your business is about. Let them know your hours of operation. Let them know where you're located and how they can reach you. And if you have a brick and mortar, where your address is. And because you have ownership over your website and that content, you are able to determine more accurately and appropriately what happens to that content and where it is, as opposed to relying solely on social media that you don't own. Because we don't own our Facebook page. We don't own our Instagram page. Now, there are a few ways in order to make sure you have what you need so that your website is top-notch, that is polished, that it stands out and pops, so that when your ideal client comes your way, and they've checked out your social media that you launched, they now have a place to really get into the nitty-gritty of what it is that you do. I know that when I'm looking for a company, if I don't find them on Instagram, or if I'm just happen to be Googling for like a cleaning service, if I'm looking for a cleaning service or just a business for some type of service, I'll go to Google and I type it in. The next thing I do after I see the list of options is I click on their website to see what it looks like. And so the website can make or break you, because you A, want to have a website, but you B, want to make sure it accurately and appropriately represents the quality and the value of the services or the products that you're going to offer. So there are a few ways to make sure that we have a website that really represents us in the best light. And the first thing is to make sure that we have professional headshots and images. So if you are the face of your brand, then you want to make sure you have some professional headshots taken. If you're on your website, if you could get some professional images of your team in action, that would be amazing. You can get some professional shots of the products that you offer. If you offer skincare products, you want to have a photo shoot for those. But you really want to collect professional images because the higher quality they are, um, the easier it is for them to transfer easily when it comes time for you to design your website or outsource the design of your website, which I definitely recommend because it can be designing the site can be tedious. So the next thing you want to consider is the idea of the functionality of your site. What do you need to do? Do you need your website to be able to accept appointments? Are you using it to book out speaking engagements? Do you want to sell merchandise? Are you selling skincare products? Are you a band and you want to list the events that you have coming up? It's important to really take that into consideration because you'll need to decide like what kind of point of sale systems that you're gonna that can integrate with your website. So I know a lot of people use like Calendly, for example, to accept speaking engagements. You can use Proposify if you need to be able to send people proposals. But you need to know what it is that you want your website, the goal of your website, and what you need to do in order to decide what kind of plugins and what kind of systems that you want to integrate into it. And then once you decide what you need your website to do, you can go ahead and start to prepare the content for it. By content, I mean you want to write out your bio. So if you don't have a bio, just do some soul searching. Think about your story. It all goes back to your brand. What story do you want to communicate? What story about your organization do you want people to know? Like, how did you get started? You want to talk about the services. You want to list out the services that you offer and the products that you offer. And then you also want to list out what your contact information is. You can just type it all up and put it on like a Google document or a Microsoft Word document, just so that you'll already have that written out. Yes, Mr. Albright.
Yes, there's a question asking you to, what is your feedback advice on utilizing Linktree?
Oh, I use Linktree actually on both of my Instagram pages because you're only able to put one link in the about section on your Instagram. So it is a really good tool to use in order to link out all of the different links associated with your business. So especially if you have different social media pages you want to connect people to, you can put your LinkedIn on there and then have a link for your Instagram, have a link for your Facebook. But it really is it's a really great place to have all the links associated with your business. And it's free. The beginning level is free to use. So it's a really good resource, especially for new entrepreneurs and new businesses. And I think it's link.tree, but if you just type in Linktree, it'll pop up for you. So once you prepare all of your contact information, I'm trying to get my notes together. Once you select all of your contact information and all of your content, then you want to collect client and customer testimonials. Because as we know, referrals and word of mouth really travel far. And what you aren't, so when you have a client and a customer, they can beget yet another client and customer based off the value of your work. So when you are able to do a great job for someone, they will recommend you. And that's how you grow. In fact, it's one of the best and most cost effective free tools for you to be able to grow your business and get in front of new customers is by doing a great job and allowing the value of your work to speak for itself through people recommending you to other potential clients. So on my website, I sprinkle in testimonials. So we don't just have a page full of testimonials, but I place them on different pages. This one's on like my website design questionnaire form. And so by collecting testimonials on here, and then even when you, side note, if you start a Google business page, to have people fill out testimonials on their reviews, because it'll help you to rank higher organically in Google searches by having people complete those reviews. Like I said, it's just a really great way to get in front of new clients and new ideal clients that would not have known about you otherwise. So, but the biggest thing is just to get started. Nothing is perfect, is done perfectly overnight. And in fact, like I said earlier, we're going to dismiss the notion of perfection, because entrepreneurship is definitely a journey. It is a marathon, and you don't know what you don't know, but you learn along the way. And so it's important to just get started by really thinking about your brand and your ideal client and who you want to get in front of. And by launching your social media and having it all tie back into your website, it'll really help you to it'll help your business appear more professional. It'll help you get in front of your ideal client, and it'll help your business to grow. So I always like to leave quotes, and here's this one. The one I'd like to leave with you today is: whether you think you can do it or you think you cannot, you're right. So whatever it is that you believe is what you are able to output. But the important thing is to believe in you, because we all have an amazing journey that has yet to be told. We all have a purpose, and together we are able to help empower others and create generational wealth for our loved ones. But you got to believe, and I believe in you. So, yeah. So if you, we always love for people to just give us feedback. And if you have any specific website design questions, here's all of our information for Newton Creative Consulting. And if you want to follow our podcast, like I said, we have a podcast that just talks about different challenges and that we face in our community, and we share stories from different entrepreneurs and women of color. We would love to have you check us out and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We just got on TikTok, so but this has been a pleasure. And if there are any questions, I would love to hear them.
I have excuse me, I have one. You just so you do a podcast, and do you invite local businesses here in the area or things of that nature?
I do. We do. And so we are maybe 6 episodes in, but we've so far I've had a guest, Miss Keisha Shields, who talked to us about reclaiming our voices and kind of what that looks like. She has a women executive leadership coaching business where she teaches women how to reclaim their voices in the bed. She's in the boardroom, in the bedroom, and all the way around. So she, but we do invite different guests on the podcast, and we discuss different topics, not even just about entrepreneurship, but just about some of the challenges and the journeys and the collective stories that we have as a community, and just how we can learn from one another.
So if someone who's on here today would like to start a podcast, what would be your recommendation to them on how to go about doing that?
Well, with anything, I would say to definitely research. There are a few different like podcast hosts that you can use. We use Libsyn, that's Libsyn for ours, but there are a lot of really great options available. And then you want to decide what your topic's going to be. And again, the same way as with the business, who your ideal target, like who your ideal audience is going to be, who you want to speak to, and what stories you want to share. So once you are able to identify those key items, you take it from there. And you don't have to feel attached or tethered to a certain podcast name or even to a certain idea. If you look up and decide that you want to change it, then it's the ball's in your court. You shouldn't feel obligated to stick to just one thing if you decide that you want to kind of go in a different direction. So.
And there's something in the chat that says there how would they get in front of their or find their ideal clients and where they reside? How would you recommend that to them?
So we have not yet identified our ideal client.
Basically, it said my struggle is getting in front of where my ideal client reside and where to find them.
Okay, so who's the ideal client?
Ms. Banks, she might want to type it in the Q&A and then we can probably answer it like that. Another one is, do you have any website builder recommendations? But you build websites yourself, so is there a particular platform that you utilize, or do you have your own platform? How do you currently build websites?
We build our websites on WordPress. They are very clean, professional sites. But for those who want to build their own site, WordPress is not very beginner friendly. So I would definitely recommend you outsourcing that to someone. If you are on a very limited budget and you want to crank out your first website by yourself, then depending on what you're using, I think like Shopify has that option, and Wix provides templates for individuals. And while they are more user-friendly than WordPress, there's still a learning curve whenever you are whenever you want to build a website. So the most time efficient and effective way to get a website, I would suggest, and not even just like to put in a plug for me, but it would be to hire someone that designs websites. And just because it's so time consuming, and in most cases, business owners want to do what it is that they love doing, and not the tedious things that they aren't really great at. So for me, I don't handle my bookkeeping. That's not my strong suit. That's not what I'm gifted at. So I outsource it and I replace myself in that regard so that I can spend more time doing the things that I do love. You know what I mean? So I don't, I outsource the things that I'm not really great at because it becomes time consuming. And in business, your time is money. So
that's correct. That's correct. So before we get to Ms. Banks' question, and you were talking about that. So now, one time you used to have to know HTML and all of that. So that's no longer the case with these websites that you are referring to.
No, but you can still customize and use like CSS coding to customize your sites. There are a lot of different nuances associated with web design these days, to include different plugins to help make your site more efficient, to help you collect email addresses to start your mailing list. So yeah, there's a lot of really great things that you can do with websites, and they have a lot of functionality these days. So
okay, so Miss Banks said her ideal client is an adult couples between 45 to 60, empty nesters who want to travel and explore the world.
Okay.
I know that
So
has me thinking as well. Is how would it best be for her to get to her clients? And I'm not sure if social media would be that ideal medium.
right. I I was gonna definitely say I know Snapchat, they're not on Snapchat or TikTok.
Right.
You might find some on Facebook. My funny story, my grandmother is on Facebook. So so you can find some like some older demographics on Facebook because it's becoming an aging platform. Um but yeah, it feels like they would be more of a hands-on printed like newspaper on the news, radio, uh or if you send out physical mailings, that might work better for you because I know older generations, they still like the feel of the paper in their hands, so to speak. So like if you could mail out, and there's some really great mailing services that you can pay to, and they'll send it to certain demographics according to zip code, according to age, and things of that nature.
So how can she incorporate and I'm not sure if you talked about this, flyers and billboards and handbills. Wouldn't that be a great alternative for her, like to go to flea markets and things like that
Mm-hmm.
to meet
Mm-hmm.
people where they're at?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so do you do that as well? Flyers and billboards and things that they can come to you to do so? Or do
Yes, sir.
you
So
so you do that as well, okay?
yeah, so we design our main two objectives are to design graphics and websites. So we offer billboard design and flyer design. So whether that is for print or digital, um, and we uh, we consult clients on just um, the best path for them regarding according to the ideal client. So,
Gotcha.
but I would definitely look into that mailing service because I think here's like Consolidated Mailing Services, CMS. You can purchase a mailing list that has and they break it down according to their age group, according to their zip code.
Right.
I've seen some that, especially during like election season, they do it according to who voted on a certain referendum. So if you didn't vote, you may not get this, but if you did vote, you may get something in the mail about something else. So it's a really useful tool for those who have the budget to put towards it in their marketing. So, and marketing really should comprise a large portion of your budget because, as we know, it takes money to make money. And when you get in front of your customers, if you can convert at least 1 to 2 out of 10, you have a really
Mm.
great start.
So targeted Facebook ads.
Yes.
That
Um,
was a question as well.
okay. So what do we want to know specifically about them?
They just asked what about targeted Facebook ads. So I guess they're trying to find out if they work. Are they worth it? And is there a price structure for those? How do they do that?
Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a low cost, and you can set the amount that you have to allocate towards a certain Facebook ad boost running. So the way Facebook does it is you provide them with the post. They prefer for it to not be too lengthy in copy or too much copy on the actual post. And then you would select how long you want it to run, who you wanted to get in front of. So if it's women between the ages of 20 and 35 that live in Augusta, Georgia, then you would put all those stipulations in there. They really are really great at targeting specific demographics. And you would just say how long you want to run and how much money you have to allocate towards that cause. and that'll determine how many people it's in front of per day. So,
So
but you run that through through a Facebook page and not through a Facebook profile.
okay. So and you stated that it was low cost. So what is the starting price, or is there a starting price?
There really isn't. Like I said, you can allocate $5 to the calls. You can allocate 100. So it just depends on what your budget is, the priority to get in front of, like how many individuals you're trying to get that particular
Gotcha.
post in front of.
Gotcha.
And then they even have it to where you can not just boost your post, but you can boost your page. So you can put an ad on your page just to get your actual page in front of people instead of a particular post. So Facebook does have some really great things. And then Instagram follows suit where you're able to do the same type of boosting.
Okay. And you got a shout out for Neil Property Preservation for doing their website?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and they really are great if you are looking to reorganize any of your spaces, or if you need help to clean out a space or move in, or they're really, really great at what they do. They helped me get my closet all the way together.
Well, you stated word of mouth and recommendations.
So, we got to support each other in this thing, when you do great work, it speaks volumes and people don't mind recommending you. And so I'm grateful to be a part of their journey and then have them be a part of my entrepreneurial journey. So.
Gotcha. So testimonials. So just to recap, testimonials are good on your website. Word of mouth, and Linktree is good as well because it allows you to do quite a few things and it's free. Okay. Any final closing things you want to share?
Just thank you again, first of all, Mr. Albright, for inviting me to present this evening. I look forward to answering any. Oh wait, Ms. Karen had one additional question. Should everyone already have their own copy for the website when they contact you? You do not have to have copy ready at that moment, but that is homework that I give to my clients. Is in order for us to form a partnership, they provide me with their copy. And the copy doesn't have to be perfect, but it does have to be somewhat ready to go, because copy in it, that's what we call, so that's what we call copy is just a text for your website, because that in itself is a whole different service that some web designers provide and charge you extra for, and then some web designers don't even provide it. So, and because it's your story, you want to write it out as best you can because you want it to really reflect the message that you're trying to share. And who can share your story better than you, right?
You sound like me when I talk to a client about their business plan and I tell me what it is first, and then we could go and make this happen. So you are exactly right. So, well, I thank you, Ms. Newton, as well. We've had clients asking about this, and some of them I see on, and some I do not. They missed out on a great presentation. So we may have to schedule this again. Some of them I'll try to do at least every 6 months. So you and I can talk again about doing that, and seeing what we could do. Maybe we could do one in person. As we continue to evolve and move from virtual, even though virtual is good, but the feel of being in person sometimes makes a difference. Before we go, did you not do work for Tabernacle as well? Don't you do some technology services for them or things like that? Do you still do that?
I do. So I will say that I did not design their website. I do maintain, our business does maintain their website.
Gotcha.
So, and there is a difference between the website design process and then maintaining the site, because content changes over time, you know, especially when you have events. You don't want events from 6 months ago still on your website. And then also you want to make sure your site stays secure. And there are these things called plugins that help with the functionality of your site. And you want to make sure those stay up to date, that security on your website stays up to date so that it stays up and running as it should. So I do, so NCC does provide that maintenance service for them. And then we also provide graphic design services for them.
See, you didn't mention that in your presentation. You got to plug yourself too now.
So, well, but we are grateful to just be a part of the team there. I tell you, Tabernacle really does great work in the community, and I am a member of Tabernacle. My son attended the school. I was on the admin staff there for years. And so they really helped support me launching into when my season there was up and it was time and I was getting ready to start full-time NCC. They really supported me in all my endeavors. And so I'm grateful for their support and for them pouring into me just as an entrepreneur in a Black-owned business. But I will say thank you again for the opportunity to speak. And if anyone has any questions they want to ask me offline, feel free to slide into my DMs. We, like I say, we can be reached on Facebook and Instagram at the new CC. And then you could shoot us an email. You can send it directly to me, and someone on my team will get that for me. But it's Shanita at thenewcc.co. And yeah, we were just happy to be able to share this evening.
Well,
So marketing in itself is just such a wide topic. Is difficult to cover everything that you want to cover in one session, but hopefully we're able to empower somebody to get started and know that, over time,
that's
we can
correct.
grow the business.
That is correct. And I thank you again, and we look forward to another collaboration soon. And again, I thank everyone for coming on behalf of the board of directors and the staff of the CSRA Business League and our chair, Ms. Veronica Sharif, who you heard from earlier. Again, our Women's Empowerment Conference is on the 18th of October and at St. Paul's Church. You can register and be there in person. We ask that you register simply because we want to make sure we have a head count. We don't want to invite you in and we don't have enough food for you, as well as we have vendor opportunities as well. I think we have 3 more slots available. So if anyone on the call would like to be a vendor at that event, you can. Our 52nd anniversary banquet again is on the 11th of November at the Augusta Marriott Hotel and Suites. More information will be forthcoming. This webinar was live streamed on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, and you will receive a copy of it tomorrow in my follow-up thank you. I please ask that everyone take the opportunity to complete the survey at the end of this. If you have any questions for Ms. Newton, you can put them in that survey, and I will make sure that she gets them as well. In that thank you, I will also copy her so that if anything that you would need to talk to her about, we would do that as well. But again, I thank you all for taking up part of your evening to be with us and for a great presentation. Thank you again, Ms. Newton. And
It's a pleasure.
If there are not any other questions, Ms. Jones, I see you. Contact us tomorrow. You can send us an email. It will be in the follow-up, and we will make that happen for you as well. So thank you again. Thank you, Ms. Newton.
It's a pleasure. Everybody. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And everybody have a great night and look forward to our follow-up thank you on tomorrow. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.